Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bikes, Buddies, and More. We at Bikes, Buddies, and More believe that every bike is special. But you know what? There is something really special about a fully fed sports bike. It's adorned our walls, it ignites passion, fuels fantasy. They're the truest embodiment of speed, refinement, agility, and well, looks. So join us as we get up close and personal to one of the most beautiful bikes in the world, the Ducati Panigale 959. So go ahead and enjoy. The 959 succeeds the 899, which was hugely successful, and later this year is going to be replaced by the V2. But to get to V2, let's get through the 959 in greater detail. They all come from a category of bikes called the super sports, which are hugely accessible, adequately powerful, but a whole lot more manageable in the city when compared to the track monsters, the liter class bikes. And true to its Italian origin, this one can arrest you at the very first glance. And it packs in all this design flair and the technology in an extremely compact frame. This 955cc engine is essentially a V-twin where the cylinders are placed perpendicular to each other in an L formation. The engine is Ducati, call it the L-twin. It produces about 157 horses and around 107 Newton meter of torque, really high up in the rev range, which essentially means the harder you rev, the better it gets, which is also the inherent character of the bike. This engine tends to be coarse and rough at low revs with significant amount of heat and vibrations. The transmission is a 6-speed unit, and this Panigale comes with a Ducati quick shifter, which essentially is clutchless upshifts on the go. It is not as intuitive as you would like it to be, but works perfectly fine. Once you open the throttle and cross the 6000 RPM mark, this bike is a hoot to drive. And to share all that speed, you get a solid Brembo braking unit. It works really well and is always very confidence inspiring. Another high point on this bike is the amazing suspension. Like most sports bikes, at low speeds it can be a little punishing, but at high speeds the suspension works amazingly well. It absorbs all undulations, and the steering dampers really do not let anything get onto your wrists, while keeping you fully connected to the tarmac. The switchgear is perfectly adequate and does the job well. There's nothing to rave about. But what is something to rave about are the spot-on ergonomics on this bike. From a perfectly sculpted saddle that puts you firmly on the bike, yet gives you enough place to move around, to the positioning of the foot pegs, the handlebars, the tank, and the way all of this comes together, makes it a perfect track weapon. The instrument console is a sore point on this bike. It's very basic, not a full TFT unit, but also lacks several basic readings. For instance, range. For instance, fuel available. While customizable, it does take a lot of time getting used to. Panigale also comes with 3 riding modes: race, sport, and wet. While the wet would limit the output to about 100 horses, it's the sport that gives you the full protection and the power the engine has to offer. And race is best reserved for the racetrack or once you've got to grips with this beauty. In summary, how is the Panigale on an average motorway? We're happy to report that it really shines. True, under 40 kilometers per hour on a traffic infested road, this can be a pain in your backside. But as speeds build up on an open stretch beyond 6000 rpm, this bike truly comes into its elements. And all that heritage and years of research really comes to life and puts a big smile on your face every time you ride it. And when you're done with all the riding, go back home and you can spend the next few hours staring at the captivating 959 Panigale. And that is priceless.